Hi, everyone. Number one Marmaduke fan here, and I just watched Zach's live stream. Press F to say respects. His is down, and I've been wanting to talk about Jawbreakers all day, and I feel like this is a good time to start. Are we live? Okay, good. We're live. All right. So the reason I'm doing this as a live stream is I want to be able to talk to anyone who chats with me. But my plan for this is I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a spiel. And then once that's all done, then hopefully if there are any comments, then I'll chat with you about that. I'm just gonna bring this up here so I can keep an eye on the comments because I still don't have a good live stream set up. Uh-oh. I'm bringing up the live stream on my other laptop to see if I can get it to work. Let's see. Will it come up? So we're gonna kill a little time here while I make sure I can read the super. No, I don't have super chats yet, but I want to be able to read the chat and see what's going on. Razman says, hello there, fellow Splatoon enthusiasts. Super Ant says, yeah, boy, Duke. So I'll keep an eye on the chat that way. So like I said, I'm going to do the spiel like I normally would for a video, and then I'll talk to everyone in the chat after that. So I worked all day today, and I was already going to do a video based only on hearing commentary on people trying to pressure Antarctic Press to cancel or not to stock Jawbreakers Lost Souls on shelves. So then, since I did not catch any of the Twitter drama today about Antarctic actually being pressured to cancel Jawbreakers Lost Souls, I didn't find that out until I watched our boy Zach's live stream. And I was ticked, but I was so happy because I guessed beforehand what he was going to do based on what he's talked about before and him floating the idea of starting his own company. He's doing exactly the right thing. So what I want to talk about in this is sort of a personal thing that I have learned from Zach as applied to me, but what I have learned application to every single person involved with either the Comicsgate hashtag or hashtag Save Comics, or just not buying garbage SJW Marvel books, or people who want to make good escapist books. I'm thinking of my first live stream I did with our boy Matt Wenger, who got to roast me live on my own channel when my connection died for some reason. So I want to bring this all together. I want to tell you what I learned, and then I want to tell you what we should do to make Splato Del Gato Comics a success. And that's not enough for me. I am so ticked right now. I want Splato Del Gato to be the first of numerous anti-SJW comics companies coming into existence. I want us to win until we get tired of winning, and then we take a little our boy Zach power nap for a couple hours. We wake up, and instead of feeling crummy after a 2-hour nap, I want us to go right back to winning. So this is a critical nodes and infrastructure thought video, and I have got these notes to try to keep me on track. So the politics of personal destruction. I was not surprised when they went after Antarctic Press trying to stop Jawbreakers Lost Souls from appearing on shelves. I was not surprised, but I was hoping it wouldn't happen, because what that is the politics of personal destruction in comic books. The reason I wasn't surprised when it happened, but I was upset and disappointed that it happened, is that the politics of personal destruction is a trickle down from what generally goes on in politics: naming and shaming people, contacting their employers, doxing sensitive information about them, coming into the comic book world, coming into my hobby, coming into something that I like to do, to read about, to escape from just the angst and the anger of the political world. So I've talked about politics and comics from day one on this channel, because the realization that started this channel, even more than my response to diversity in comics and Douglas Ernst and Captain Cummings and others, beyond just that, was my recognition from my art education that the SJW culture is old, it is philosophical, it is obsessed with politics, and it is at war with my imagination and your imagination. And when we talk about the culture war, This is a war of aggression on this part, and it has been a defensive war on everyone else's part. Not just if you're a conservative, if you're on the left and not a social justice warrior, they look at you as their enemy and they're coming for you. So one thing that prompted this is, what's the deal with the culture war? What's that mean? Why do some people hear the phrase the culture war and they kind of get a little antsy about it? So this is something that I've kind of learned for myself, because I am a political conservative. So I didn't have a problem saying there's a culture war. But then I'd speak to people who were not leftists. They might be kind of center right, and they'd get kind of antsy at the mention of culture, a culture war, or they get antsy at the mention of politics. Why can't we just talk about my hobbies and my interests? And what I learned from that is that people don't want politics invading their hobbies and interests. They want an avenue to escape. That was something I had to learn about people who were to my left, so I could kind of understand them and appreciate them. So when the politics of personal destruction comes into comic books, it is invading not a safe space. It's violating a space where people explicitly want to escape the nastiness of the political world, and it's sickening. So, all right, let's get into this. So what I want to talk about is diversity in comics. He is starting Spalato del Gatto. I had a feeling he was going to be saying something like that. That's step one. I want Spalato del Gatto, the comic company, to succeed beyond Zach's wildest dreams. I want him to be stinking rich. I want him throwing dollars away live on his live stream comic book hangouts. But then I want another one, and I want another one, and I want another one. I want every single one of you in Twitter comics and YouTube comics. I want you to succeed, not just because success is the best revenge, but because success is the polite middle finger to the social justice left. Now, what do I mean by that? The polite middle finger. Well, a normal middle finger is exactly that. It is F you. It is I hate you. Go jump off a cliff. That's what a normal middle finger is. The polite middle finger is saying all that to them, saying all that to the social justice left, but saying that by creating something, not just by saying F you. Everything that Jawbreakers is, one big reason I'm supporting it is it looks like a fun, exciting action comic. The other big reason I am supporting it is we need statements like that to people who went after John Malin, to people who went after Ethan Van Sciver. Our boy Zach picked John Malin, and he got EVS to do the cover, not just because they were his friends. He did get them because they are excellent artists, but he was paying attention to what the social justice comic book industry was doing, and he was saying no. And that resonates with people who feel powerless. What am I supposed to do? If I love Spider-Man and everyone who creates Spider-Man comics is corrupting the character, if they're using Captain America to sell woke politics, where am I supposed to get stories about Captain America and Spider-Man comics? Well, that's what this is about. We need to create critical nodes in infrastructure, not just capture critical nodes in infrastructure. This is how we're going to win and win and win until we get tired of winning, and then we're going to win some more, and we'll be tired of being tired of winning, and then we'll be happy to be winning again. Number one, YouTubers. Okay, so let's say you're someone who never see yourself writing or drawing comic books, sort of like a Mim Headroom. Go at Mid Headroom. I don't have super chats, so whatever if you watch this live or if you watch this after it goes live or not. But I need to talk to as many YouTubers about this as possible. I guess I get on fire sometimes, but this is but let's just talk about what the idea is before I go off on tangents. This is why I have this list, guys, so I don't get lost. Okay, YouTubers. I want YouTubers to succeed at making the best content possible. I want multiple people in our community reaching the comic historian, comics explained role. Now, you may not be able to do that if you get like all feisty and political sometimes. I'm not going to reach that point because I am explicitly talking about social justice politics on this channel, and that can be boring, but I think it's important, so I'm going to keep doing it. But I want YouTubers in this community making the best content possible. They're going to be really important in driving eyeballs and dollars to rising talents who are creating culture, who are creating good comics, creating good art, to say no to the social justice left. Number two, artists. I am an artist. I see artists in this community. I see them creating art. There is a Twitter devoted to fan art of Jawbreakers and of Cyberfrog, okay? So we have artists in this community. Do you dream of getting into the comic book industry? Do you dream of making comic books? Well, as the industry is now, what has become clear to me, what was clear to me before I heard that Antarctic Press was pressured to cancel the Jawbreakers series, is that you do one thing wrong. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how hard you work. This is, the comic book industry has become a political club, and we need to create something positive as a counterpoint to that. We need to create not a safe space, but we need to create an art space where amazing artists can succeed. And Splato Del Gatto Comics, I want that to be step one. I want 10 companies like Splato Del Gatto Comics making tons of money, hiring the artists who have been blackballed from this current industry. Writers, you can't draw, but you can write. Okay, doodle your ideas out and start writing comics or pitching ideas. I don't know, make money just writing and selling scripts, and then start pitching comic ideas. Okay, I want, on all three fronts, I want people with different diverse talents in this community to be pushing something. One thing that prompted this is me thinking, is diversity in comics our leader? This is an old Saw argument. Captain Cummings has an old video saying diversity in comics is not our leader. And he's right, because this is not a formal political movement. It's a collection of creative people who appreciate the comics medium. But in the sense that he is pointing the way of what we should be doing, in that sense, diversity in comics is a leader, because the live stream he just did just showed all of you. I want every single one of you who watched that Diversity in Comics live stream, I want you to succeed and excel the way that Jawbreakers Lost Soul is excelling, because it's not enough for me to have one Jawbreakers Lost Soul. I was saying, thank God, when I heard he's planning to do another one and another one and another one. He's saying no. He's continuing on. He's making comics. That's great. I want that. I'm going to move the needle on all of that. I want a Jawbreakers Lost Souls every week. And you, this community, need to make this happen. You need to make your comic happen. You need to write your story. You need to write your novel. You need to make your YouTube channel. You need to excel. You need to clean your room. You need to Jordan B. Peterson your life. And then we need to create the ad culture, not just yell about the dumb SJW comics. We need that from the YouTubers to let us know what's going on in the industry. But we need a counterpoint. We need critical nodes and infrastructure. Knowing what to do versus seeing that applied, e.g. Zach. Okay, so all my life I've had great teachers. And I guess this is where it gets a little personal, is a few weeks ago I did a video on Jawbreakers called Jawbreakers and Harrison Bergeron, where I said, I've caught up with my backlist. I've transitioned from the garbage tier phone videos. I'm not going to show you in case there's anything sensitive on that. Actually, look, this is my garbage phone after the iPhone. I finally get to show you. This is the $50 phone with all the shaky, flashy light duds that I just couldn't bear. So after I transitioned away from that into podcast format, I noticed I couldn't belt out 5 videos a day anymore. And I was okay with that, because I wanted to slow down on video nuttiness, even if I had 5 ideas for a video a day, so I could devote more time to making my comic. And there has been progress on that. I don't want to talk too much about my comic, because the whole point is there's broader application beyond this, but I'm actually doing constructive, smart things to make my comic not just a dream in my head or a bunch of notes and doodles in my notebooks. I am doing constructive, smart things I've learned from other artists and other writers to make that idea a reality. And I want to beat Jawbreakers. It's a friendly rivalry. That's what I'm aiming for. But anyway, that's my project, because when I say I want a Jawbreakers a week, I want to be one of those Jawbreakers a week, and I want you to be one of those Jawbreakers a week. So what is Zach doing? He is demonstrating what that looks like, because you can know in your head that, oh, well, I shouldn't procrastinate. I should write my story. Oh, I shouldn't goof around all day. I should practice on constructively improving my craft. Oh, I shouldn't, I don't know, fiddle fart around on Angry Birds all day. I could make a YouTube video that is really constructive and really thoughtful. That takes work, and you can know in your head that's a good idea to do, but why is it hard for you to apply it? Why is it hard for you to get past procrastinating and do the thing that you need to do? Wow, how many have I got here? 27 watching. Okay, that's big for me because I'm a small channel. Sweet. So I'm going to finish this presentation, and I'm going to chat with all you guys in the live chat and catch up. All right. So Zach is demonstrating what you need to do so that you can see with your eyes what that looks like. So when Jordan Peterson says clean your room, that's good advice. And the reason I think that's resonated is a lot of people who knew that it is a good idea to clean their room heard someone give them a good explanation as to why that is. So it's sort of like, in your head, oh, I shouldn't do dumb stuff. I shouldn't procrastinate. I should do smart stuff. But then when you see someone do it, it clicks and then you start to do it. Diversity in comics has shown us what it looks like to say no to people who want to bully you into silence for their insane political agenda. If you haven't had time to verse yourself yet on what academic social justice is, hit me up, gang, and I'll try to simplify it for you or point you into the direction of some good videos, some on my channel, some on other channels. But what I've known since I started this is social justice will not stop until your comic book collection reflects their puritanical left-wing worldview. They're not going to stop, so we got to not stop. We got to not fight them. We have to stop fighting defensive warfare, and we have to create good comics, good YouTube content, good story, good journalism on good comics. We need to create our culture so that we can excel and demonstrate by excellence that their way is dead and that their SJW storytelling is morally bankrupt and morally disgusting. So conclusion, do not stop winning. You need to make your comic happen. I am going to make my comic happen. Make the next Jawbreakers a success. Make Jawbreakers book 4 and book 5 and book 6 a success. Pay attention to people on Twitter who are creating art, retweet their art, see what they're doing and talk to them about what we're doing, because we have talent in this community and we can make good stuff happen. Do you remember when Yellow Flash floated the idea of a boycott for like a week? Do you remember what the reaction was from the SJW comic pros? They thought that was despicable. They thought that was the end of the world. They thought this was the signal that Comicsgate was some sort of disgusting movement. And Yellow Flash didn't even stick with that hard, all because he made a list essentially documenting instances of comic pros engaging in atrocious behavior online. And he later said, well, I don't know if I support a boycott. And I respect Yellow Flash. I respect what he was trying to do. But the very idea that we might boycott was enough to drive SJW comics pros insane. And what did they just do to Jawbreakers this week? I was already ticked when they were tweeting at Anarctic Press and that comic book shops were tweeting they weren't going to carry it. Now that I know that they successfully got Anarctic Press, I'm not mad at Anarctic Press, because that is SJW politics intruding into your personal life. And I've got family. I wouldn't want SJW politics hurting my family. But we need people to say no to this SJW culture. And they did to us. They tried to do to Jawbreakers what they said was atrocious if done to them. That's my point. If you didn't think there was a culture war before this week, the successful campaign by comics pros to get Jawbreakers Lost Souls off the shelves, that is your proof that even if you are not at war with social justice is at war with you. Every comic you want to read, every story you want to tell, and every idea you want to imagine that they view as problematic. That is the presentation. Full stop. Now I'm going to interact with you guys in the comment section. So let's leave this pretty picture here. It's probably not even going to show up. I am upping. No, what is it? So Zach has got a lo-fi channel filmed on a potato, and I'm just pointing you here at half a page. So let's see what we got in the chat. Alrighty, guys. So Super Ant was here. He says, "Ya boy." Razman was here. Feel Cool, what's up? Some people are saying hi. Feel Cool says, hashtag make mine Splato. Bring it on. This cat has 999 lives. Yes, for this to work, we need to make Zach dizzyingly rich with Splato comics. People are saying, hey, Neostar Productions is here. Yeah, I forgot to remind him about the damn brightness. That's probably in, yeah, I've got like a dim light here with the light bulb dying. This is lo-fi. Donna Troy was here. What did he say on this video? Pretty much I tried to sum up my thoughts on the industry, and I tried to make it so that as new people were coming in, they could hopefully keep up with everything. But pretty much we need a Jawbreakers Lost Souls once a week. Neostar Productions. I've already started working on a new comic character. Okay, hashtag move the needle. Let's go follow Neostar Productions. I know he's on YouTube. See if he's on Twitter. Let's see what Neostar Productions is up to. I want creative people's works outside of SJW Comics. I want to spotlight shined on those. I want them to succeed. I want Neostar Productions to have the next 8,000 copies of graphic novel sold. All right, we make it happen, Neostar. I'm gonna be watching. Jay Cephas was here. Chapman. If only artists and writers could invest as much time as they bully as they do on the comics. Yes, the social justice culture is toxic, and it's in the industry I love. Zach has added a new perk on Indiegogo. I threw a $50 super chat at him, so I'm gonna have to see if I can afford to go up to the 3rd tier. I was already at the $50 tier. I love how Zach's chat exploded when he announced his plans to start Splato. That was great. There is demand for this. There are people who want to buy comics and enjoy stories who have been missing out. I wonder how many people were driven off the industry. Yeah, that's sad. And they may not come back, but they might come back if you make tons of good comics and they hear buzz that this is coming. So the YouTubers have to make the buzz for all the new comics coming out of anti-SJW comics culture. And the thing is, being anti-SJW, that's not the same as having a philosophy. I mean, anti-SJWs could argue with each other all day about their brand of anti-SJW-ness. But no matter what my differences are with anyone in this community, the SJW culture is toxic, and that needs to be successfully defeated by endlessly winning until we're all sick of winning. And then we can argue with each other about who's right amongst the anti-SJWs about politics and religion. But SJW-ism is cancer, and I want it out of comics. I want it excised. I want Zach to be so rich that he buys Marvel comics from Disney, and then our boy Zach can write all the Marvel characters if that's what he wants. Let's see. Unranked Chevron is here. Now that the course that's about to happen is basically set in stone, I feel more comfortable saying it was dumb of DNC to post those private Facebook posts unredacted. I'm guessing that Diversity in Comics posted something and this opened him up to criticisms of harassment from pros. He should have at least hid people's names. Okay, that's right. So that is an illustration of how our boy Zach, I love him, but he may not necessarily be the best, emperor god king of the Comicsgate movement. I think that Captain Cummings is right that we don't have a single leader. Diversity in Comics is the primary channel, and he's the first one to succeed with his independent comic outside of SJW Marvel culture. Other people have succeeded outside of the SJW comic market, but they haven't been explicitly against SJW politics and culture and succeeded. So that's the respect in which Diversity in Comics represents something significant for the rest of us, is he's showing us good things to do. I think from the beginning he's been a roaster, and that sometimes has gotten him in trouble, and that sometimes he's talked about this. People say, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. That was a dumb idea," and he'll pull back a little bit. I just think that's part of who he is, and I'll forgive that. And the SJWs will say, "Oh, so are you okay with this thing he did and that thing he did?" We need polite middle fingers to this SJW culture. They started the war. We could talk about whether it's polite or not polite for our boy Zach to have done this or that thing, but I'm not going to have that conversation with a bunch of bullies who want everyone to kowtow to their perverse political vision. So I generally agree with you, Unranked. I have bigger fish to fry than what Diversity in Comics may or may not have done right or wrong. Razman says other people may have posted the screenshots before DNC did. What happened with Antarctic still didn't need to happen, says Maniac Man. Yes, the owners of Antarctic Press could have said no. They could have stuck with their guns and made a lot of money with our boy Zach. I can't get too mad at them if your family's starting to feel the heat, but I wish they would have said no and published it anyway. But if nothing else, this was the impetus for Zach to start talking about Splato del Gato comics. March here says hi all. Gato went Splato is here. It was already spreading through Facebook. Okay, so it looks like multiple people are saying that Diversity in Comics didn't break the story on whatever these Facebook chats are. March here says, sorry, I didn't realize you were going to live stream. I would have been here sooner. That's okay. I explicitly wanted to live stream. At first, it was just going to be a video where I would talk about what's on the sheet of paper. But then I realized, well, if I do this right after Zach, I might get a chat with some people and get some feedback. Okay, people are talking about whatever these Facebook messages are, and I haven't seen those. So I'm going to skip over that because I've got no clue what that is, and I don't want to say something stupid until I've seen it. Razman says, a lot of artists and writers here in Mexico have set up their own indie comics the last 20 years, have backed some of their stuff. Good. You as an independent person can do a lot. If you are a writer and an artist, there you go. Make a comic. You don't need a company to do it. Figure out how to publish it on Comixology. Independently publish it through CreateSpace or something if you can't get a successful Kickstarter. Talk to us in the YouTube community and ask us to help you move the needle on it. You know, if you want to do like a cool escapist fantasy, I love art. Talk to me about it. I don't need you to be sharing my exact political views or religious views. Let's chat about what you're up to. The metal. I'm more of a writer than an artist, but I do what I can. I've seen the metal around in a lot of my comments section. So hit me up, boy. What I would say is you've seen me drawing crummy on this channel sometimes in kind of a loose cartoon style, and I have a realistic style. A really good conversation I had with Matt Wenger about in our live stream. I'd encourage you to go watch that. He has a rough cartoony drawing style, and he'll talk about this. But what we both talked about is the beauty of comics is that you can succeed in it. So here's a funny thing. So why am I okay with why am I okay reading books with sort of a kind of a cheesy drawing style? Well, it's because I appreciate all kinds of people, and I appreciate them for creating what they can at the time they make it. And you never know, if you start drawing goofy stick figures now, maybe you're going to be drawing Stan Lee said it, you know, in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. He said, you know, you might be the one teaching this class, and it'll be John Buscema out there taking notes. So aim high, tell your story, write it if it's appropriate to write it. If you can't write it and it has to be a comic, go ahead and draw it. Don't just sit around there and dream about it. Go ahead and draw it with, no matter what the weaknesses of your art style is. You could supplement that with your writing. You could supplement that with your art having a sort of cartoonish charm to it. And the more you draw, the more you will succeed, and the higher goals you will reach. You know, maybe some people will roast you, like Jawbreakers got roasted. Well, laugh at the roasts, and then make the next comic. Don't let that get you down. Maniac Man 2030. Splato should be starting point of resurrecting the industry. Maybe the big two will finally get that blood dialysis they so sorely need to breathe life back into them. Maniac Man 2030 has nailed what I'm trying to talk about. We need Splato Del Gato to be phase one of continually winning. I forgot. POTUS Thump. POTUS Thump has Black Hops USAGI coming out. A while ago, Diversity in Comics said everyone should go preview that to prove the needle, is what he was trying to do. And some of the flack he got was, well, is Move the Needle a hashtag about all of us, or is Move the Needle a hashtag that's just about diversity in comics? And the thing is, all of us should be moving the needle on Timothy Lynn at POTUS Thump's Comics anyway. So if you want a Jawbreakers Lost Souls 2.0, I want My Hero Macadamia, the second or third printing. I want those to keep selling out, and I want Black Hops USAGI to sell out. So that's already in pre-order. At my boy POTUS Thump, we're gonna move the needle on Black Hops USAGI. He is a talented artist. He is a comedic writer. And I want him to have Zach's success, because I continually want the SJW seeing success, success, success. I want them crying into their pillows, realizing that all they have been trying to achieve through bullying and intimidation online has created their own destruction. I want them to know they've hoisted themselves on their own petard, and I want them to go to sleep crying over their less than 2,000 SJW creepy, ugly comic sales, while the POTUS Thumps and everyone else are just keep on winning. Just keep on winning. Have you heard of Jay Gonzo? Asked March here. I'll look him up. This is a mental note. People are talking about Jay Gonzo. The Metal is writing scripts. Hit up the Metal. Go hit up the Metal. Let's see. Metal, do you have a YouTube channel? Chat with us about what you're working on. The Metal could be the next Jawbreakers Lost Souls. That's my point. Jonah Arts. I'm both an artist and a writer, using a nice, simple, yet complex art style to illustrate the comic, to put out the work, and to have some flexibility, to have more motion and character acting to them. Exactly, Jonah. I want you to be the next Jawbreakers Lost Souls. I want you to make dizzying amounts of money. Keep putting it on social media. Don't let people get you down. Don't get nasty at them. Just ignore the doofuses from SJW. I'm done interacting with SJW Marvel pros after my horrible conversation with what's his face, Gary Conway. I'm done trying to persuade these people to be decent. I'm just going to make excellent comics and make money and then laugh at them. Just join the chat. Does anybody have the full lowdown on why Antarctic dropped the book pages? I don't have a full lowdown. I've just been told that after receiving calls, probably led by Mark Waid, that there was just too much pressure on them. It was intruding into their personal life, and they didn't want to deal with the headache of constantly having to hear this garbage. Neostar Productions is telling us a little bit more about his work. He's been working on some ideas for a Lucha Libre pro wrestling series. Okay, so I'm reading people's comments. I'm talking about, look at this. This is proving my point. We have people talking about projects that they want to see exist. You need to make these exist. You need to get art of it done so that we can look at it, so that we can do Kickstarters or Indiegogo if that's the way you want to go, or if you just want to put it online as a web comic and chat with us about it. To hit up YouTubers, hit up guys like me. We'll chat to you. We'll chat with you about your comic. I think there is a hunger amongst people to see amazing comics exist. And we need to encourage even the people who are just at the start of their careers, who aren't at EVS's level yet, or aren't at Timothy Lynn's level yet. I want to see the little people down at the bottom who are trying to trickle their way up. I want to see them encouraged. I want to see them trickle their way up. I want to see them succeeding. And I want to see everyone getting excited for them as they get better and better and better and better in what they're making. Neostar saying, Yellow Flash is pretty stand up. Sporkman says, awesome video. Thank you. Yeah, Matt Majorton, Yellow Flash got so much shit. Yeah, yes, he did. I thought the world was ending, and we were all saying, oh, we shouldn't boycott, we should boycott. We were all trying to be so nice and still allow association tear you down. If you were blocked at some point for following diversity in comics and you haven't been mean to anyone, is that enough to get you blacklisted from this current industry? We need to create a culture where a little political cadre aren't the controllers of everything you say and do and what your online history has been. Eric Cutlass says, guess what? We're boycotting now. Let me know about that. I'm going to have to think, because I have consistently taken the position. I don't like boycotts. I like boycotts. But I am, after getting called a racist again by a major comics pro, and I had a tweet joke about this ages ago. It was a shoulder angel and a shoulder devil. And the shoulder angel is saying, oh, be nice and conciliatory. Don't do boycotts. It sends the wrong message. And all this shoulder devil does is it points at tweets by SJW Comics pros. SJW Comics pros are doing more than anyone in Comicsgate to convince people to boycott their comics by calling them Nazis, by calling them racists. And they can only keep doing that as long as they don't care who you are. As long as they think you're small, they will keep doing that to you and get away with it until you start to succeed. And then they're going to pay attention. Then they're going to think about what they've said to you, because then you are going to be selling more comics than they are. That's what changes their tune. We saw the tune change on a drop of a hat. Snap warning, sorry. We saw the tune change on a drop on a hat on Diversity in Comics. He was a loser and a deadbeat dad, and now suddenly he's the great evil mastermind who must be stopped. They're gonna turn on anyone who is not part of their political cadre. If you liked one of his videos, they're gonna find that and try to knock you out of the industry, because they are obsessive. Politics is their life. The personal is political, is their gospel. And we need them out. I want this cancer out of my thread and out of my comics. All right. Unranked Chevron. I always thought that saving SJW Marvel was basically unfeasible. This was always about creating an alternative fandom and community. Boy, that speaks to me, because I was always hoping to save SJW Marvel and make
Marvel great again, because Spider-Man is part of my childhood, but this is old. This is one of maybe Diversity in Comics' first 2 or 3 videos. Is he said, there are a lot of old comics you can go read if you're tired of spending your money on the garbage that's coming out these days. You could read all the old Spider-Man comics, and it would take you years to read all the good Spider-Man comics. And then who cares if he's a garbage character who always tells terrible jokes in the new stuff coming out? You got decades worth of great Spider-Man comics to go read. I didn't even want to read that Nick Spencer comic book for free. Diversity in Comics roasted him and said, "Oh well, at least he sucks for free. Any other day it'll cost you." Well, it cost me my time to read that. I don't, even when they give it to me for free, I don't want to read some of that dreck coming out of Marvel. Pages is kind of mad at Antarctic Press. Oh, I hope I'm not getting lost here. I may have lost some comments, or I may have gotten confused on where I was. I'm just going to scroll back to the down. I don't want us to have a knee-jerk reaction to this, however, I don't want us to still support the gatekeepers when they continue to behave like this, says Pages. Yeah, I don't want a knee-jerk boycott. The thing I've always thought is, if you don't have a formal boycott, you probably have a de facto boycott when you think about it. Like, I don't know about you, but when I see the name of someone who insinuated I was a Nazi and I see $5 in my hand, the $5 just goes back into my wallet. Even though I will say we shouldn't boycott, even though I don't have a formal boycott or try to follow it religiously, it ends up happening anyway, because people who call you a Nazi, you're not eager to throw money at them. Troy Reiser, the personal is political now. They've made it so. Let it be so. We either learn to play by that rule or we'll surely lose to it. Right. Here's the thought. When you boycott a comic, you are saying, I decline to support this by giving my money to it. When you create a comic that succeeds on its own and is the opposite of that, you've done much more than your independent boycott can do. A boycott can only work when a large collection of people, they have to withhold their money from the industry, and the industry has to know exactly why that money is being withheld. And that assumes that the industry cares about money anymore. I do not believe that SJW Marvel started making the unbeatable Squirrel Girl because they honestly believe that would make tons and tons and tons of dollars, that people can't get enough Squirrel Girl. Woke parents buy Squirrel Girl for their poor children to deprogram the patriarchy out of them. No child has ever excitedly picked up Squirrel Girl without their woke mental illness haircut parent pressuring them to think that that's what they're supposed to read because it's not problematic. She's got appropriate body positivity images for children. Their politics, their personal is political. Everything in their life is motivated by their politics, and they're never going to stop. All right, lots of comments. All right, I can't keep up with it all, guys. So what I will probably do is I will come back and read to see what I missed before it's like the scroller spammed out, and then I lost my place. Keep chatting among yourself, and I'll see if I can find my space. My safe space, find my place. Unranked Chevron says, at Pages, apparently they flooded Antarctic's phones with calls ranging from passive-aggressive to borderline assault. Please support Sporkman Studios to Sporkman Studios. I'll check you out, dude. Hit us up. Reach out to us on Twitter. Show us what you're doing. We gotta see what you're making and the kind of content you're producing. But I want a lot of friendliness in this community. I want us scratching each other's backs. I want us reaching into normies' life. Pages wonders if we should call Antarctic Press to encourage them to have books like Diversity in Comics. Well, how long is it going to be until they come for Timothy Lynn? Because he's friendly with Diversity in Comics. So they haven't come for him yet. I'm grateful for that. I want people who are successful at Antarctic to be successful in Antarctic as long as they can. But we have just been demonstrated a warlike mentality from the social justice warriors. Gary, whatever, the Spider-Man artist I've stopped caring about. I've forgotten all about him. I'm going to talk Gary Conway. My love for him dropped through the floor when he called me a racist. So Gary Conway wonders online, what's a social justice warrior? We all saw it this week. We all saw it, and we all got reminded of it. If anybody donated to Zach, it started streaming again. Okay, so I'm probably going to lose my few here as we all go back to Zach's stream. You know what? I said my bit, so I'm just going to catch up with any cool comments, and then I might go watch Zach myself. Neostar's still working on things, but he has a gallery on DeviantArt. Okay. I'm just sort of reading out comments now, people talking about their creative projects. Reach out to me, NO1MarmadukeFan on Twitter, NO1MarmadukeFan@gmail.com for email. I'm on Gab, NO1MarmadukeFan. Chat with me about your work. Show me where I can go get it. Pages is thinking about politely asking Antarctic Press to okay, that he's lost respect for them. Okay, if you politely tell them something, I'm okay with that. If you are politely voicing your opinion on what you would like to buy and you're not yelling at them and trying to make them feel weak or afraid or terrified of you, then I am always for politely letting people know what you think. More people are talking about the Facebook conversation I haven't seen. Troy Reiser, the way anti-SJW could be excised can be distilled into 2 words, story first. Yes, you have to tell a story. How many SJW comics have I read on this channel where I've said, tell me a story? It's not that hard. It's like it comes out of something natural in the human soul, but social justice philosophy is at war with the human soul because it sees stories as constructing patriarchy, constructing gender, and constructing identity. So I've been meaning to make a video for a while following up on something because I had a video where I said something that was maybe a little over the top. I said something like, these radical feminists hate the idea of goodness in storytelling. And my boy LT Fish, who has never had a problem, disagreeing with me when he thinks I'm saying something that's just wrong, said, I think you may be reading something into them, which they may not necessarily be expressing, or I may be seeing something I want to see. And I thought about that. I started a video on it, and then for some reason I got off track place to make a coherent point. But LT Fish, I'm going to be doing a follow. It's kind of old because I let it sit for a while and think, I don't know if I've got the idea yet. Basically, the idea is that social justice philosophy does have a problem with the idea of goodness in storytelling. I was just a little bit hyperbolic in making the point before, but they actually have a problem with morality in storytelling because they perceive storytelling as reinforcing the Western patriarchy. And so they'll object to something like Wonder Woman being a moral character in an immoral world because they think that's teaching girls a sexist view of women as doing good things or morally virtuous. It's weird. I want to keep digging into the weird feminist stuff on this channel because I essentially want every future parent to know what the kooky Frankfurt School of Marxist thought is, so that you don't have to. You should already know it's a dumb idea to go hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over this stuff. Are we still live? We're still live. Okay. You should already know it's a dumb idea to go hundreds and thousands of dollars in debt to get a major in feminist dance theory or lesbian poetry. I can't even talk. It's getting so late. I want to put all of the social justice nonsense on the internet for free so that it's even more worthless. So when a gender studies major goes to Marvel Comics to draw ugly body positive art and resist the alt-right Nazis, and that's what she believes the whole function of art is, I want everything that she ever learned to be publicly available to people so they can call that kind of nonsense out. I want you to come along with me on a strange, weird journey through the world of SJW art school. It's going to be magical at times. I may find my inner Nurkish roasting this stuff because for me, this is personal. They robbed me of my time and energy learning this garbage, but I'm going to make use of it. I'm not just going to let the SJW gender theory be a waste of my time. I'm going to weaponize that knowledge into deconstructing radical feminist intersectional theory in art education, where the social justice politics is viewed as the sole purpose of art. Sargon of Akkad I think about Gamergate a lot and what it means and how we're different from it. This is proof of how we're different from Gamergate, is we can make comics. You can't, as a gamer, just make a video game because they're complex. You know, you got to know coding, you got to have artists, you need a team of people. Comics is the medium where an individual can make a comic come into existence that didn't exist before. So even though we're smaller than the number of people who play video games, we can have a greater force in that individuals can start making comics and start building that into other things. People are talking about the Facebook comment, so I'm not going to debate that. Carl's Amateur Hour is working on a webcomic. He's been a friend of the channel for a while. I'm subbed. When I start doing live streams more, there are going to be lots of chances, I think, I just want to chat with people about comics. I want to do what old Wizard comic interviews used to do, where they would let the artist talk about their process and ask kind of deep probing questions. I think I know enough about art that I can ask people relevant questions about their artistic production. And then I'm going to let the artist talk and tell you all this interesting stuff about their comic. Then when they succeed, my channel will be the place where you go to see all of this interesting commentary on their work. So Carl's Amateur Hour, let me up my live stream game and we'll figure it out. I'm going to educate myself on how to host a good live stream to make sure that it doesn't drop again and I get roasted on my own channel for disappearing from the live stream. Once I've got that ironed out and I'm boned up on that, I'm going to be inviting tons of artists and creative people to talk about their projects. Eric Hutfless is back. Look at the original One Punch Man comic. The drawings were garbage. Yes, they were actually kind of funny and charming in their own goofy way. And that became something. It was a goofy web comic with really amateurish drawing. And it's a major franchise. You can do this. You can make it happen. The Metal would love to be roasted. He actively encourages it. Carl's Amateur Hour is commenting on One Punch Man, and Mob Psycho were a great example of a comic starting its legacy with bad art. More people talking about One Punch Man. Okay, Neostar Productions, you've DM'd me. Okay, I will pay attention to that, and I will hit you up later after I end this. Metal's working on tons of characters. So here's where the personal thing is, right? I had characters sitting in my mind for years, and I thought, oh, one day I'll tell stories about them. And I had a good reason for not, making a comic in college is I wanted to be a good student, right? If I went back, I'd still want to be a good student and get good grades because that opens up doors for you. But then I started letting the social justice art stuff get into my head and I got distracted. For a long time, I was thinking about, oh, I'll make postmodern art. I'll be really woke. I'll subvert all of these methods into my work. Oh boy. And that was wasted time. And what I had to learn is it's not enough to just sort of sit around and think about those characters. I have to do something about those characters. So I'm probably not going to talk about my comic too much because I'm going to go into sort of a DEF CON mode and make the comic. And I don't want the spoilers coming out yet. Someone just added me. So let me finish this thought and then I'll read that. But I think I will eventually start sharing footage, especially once I'm at the point where I say, okay, I'm at the final stretch. It's going to be finished. And then it'll be ready for Indiegogos or Kickstarters. And then I'll start floating the boat, seeing if there's interest in that. I've thought about putting chapter 1 up for free on Comixology just as a way of generating interest in the series. But I do want to have there be physical comics in some capacity. So even if there's a really small, modest Kickstarter as just my starting point, then that might be a good way of just getting some physical comics out there into the real world so that so nothing else, so I can have one. All right, that was my only point. Who added me? Oh no, I can't see it. I hope I don't dox myself. Thomas DeVry, #1 Marmaduke fan. Our entry point to making games is not as difficult as it once was. That's my field, but comics is a good first counterattack. Thank you, Thomas DeVry. I know very little about the coding or the technological aspect behind video games. So yes, I imagine it is easier to enter the video game market than it once was and start making basic indie games. But even if you're making a video game as an interest, make a comic to go with it. Why not? Because people dig stories. If they dig your comic book story, maybe they'll check out your video game. Okay, so I get it. So my laptop, I don't think my laptop is showing me your chat anymore. And I'm like coming close to doxing myself, trying to see what new chats are popping up. So the laptop, one laptop to read chat, one laptop to live stream option isn't working that good. All right. So one laptop's gone. So I think that's a pretty good. Diversity in Comics is back live streaming, and I don't want to step on him for too long. I've been at this for 50 minutes, and I've made my presentation. So I'm going to end it here. I'll probably do a highlight reel. I love all you guys. I'm going to come back to this live chat. I'm going to read over all the live chats I may have missed, and I'm going to start. This is going to be a hashtag Move the Needle channel, but the hashtag Move the Needle activity is not going to be for the pros who have declared war on. The reason they hate diversity in comics, some of it has to do with his personality, sure. But the reason they hate diversity in comics is they hate you. They hate what you stand for. They hate what you believe. They hate that you're not part of their club. And diversity in comics is the avatar they project their hatred on because they see that there are people behind him. That is what the attacks on Antarctic Press, getting them to cancel their book, means. They would not care if it wasn't for you, the fans, and making, not you, the fans, you, the customers, making the Jawbreakers Indiegogo a financial success. They're at war with you. You're my boys. You're my gals. I want to see you succeed. I want you to get stinking rich. I want you to be laughing at them. And our boy Timothy Lynn is doing that. Follow POTUS Thump. Make him the next big success. I'm going to be gaming. I'm going to be gunning for that spot too. I love you guys. I'm going to catch you later. I'm going to bed.